Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin has lost her special election bid to represent Alaska's only U.S. House seat. Native Alaskan Mary Peltola will be the first Democrat to represent Alaska in the House since 1973. Last night, a visibly upset Palin blamed her loss on Alaska's new ranked choice voting system. Let's watch.
Voting. Yeah. When it comes down to second and third place votes, that's going to decide who's going to win. I mean, really? Alaskans want Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi?
I don't know what Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi have to do with ranked choice voting. They are very opposed.
Senator Tom Cotton came to Palin's defense, also calling ranked choice voting a scam to rig elections. He tweeted, quote, 60% of Alaska voters voted for a Republican, but thanks to a convoluted process and ballot of exhaustion, which disenfranchises voters, a Democrat won. This is sour grapes, and this goes to, I'm so frustrated, it goes to the problem Republicans are having everywhere, which is the party is allowing candidates who are too far right, who are too extreme, who are too weird, Sarah Palin, was obviously John McCain's running mate in 2008. Subsequent to that, she was like a failed reality TV star. She did not finish her own term as Alaska's governor. She resigned. She's a colorful character, the kind of right-wing personality that voters are not super keen about. Voters do not want in Republican circles.
Yeah, but it was the golden age of reality TV.
So I don't know how many more messages can be sent that Republicans want, or that voters want, that Glenn Youngkin type candidates who are not personally offensive to independents, to people who don't always vote Republican but are concerned about their schools and COVID and various things, and are not satisfied with many Democratic policies and think Democrats maybe went too far on keeping things shut down or other aspects of Democratic extremism. They want they're more feeling the Republican Party. They're not feeling Trump. They're not feeling the Blake Masters and the J.D. Vances or Dr. Oz or Herschel Walker or Sarah Palin's return. So this blaming ranked choice voting is such a cop-out here. It is true. It's interesting if you look at it. So the Republicans took 60% of the vote because it's Palin and the other candidate, Begich. But the overall winner was the Democrat, Peltola, who she got 40%. So she got more than Palin. Individually, he got 31%, and Begich got 28%. So Begich only got like 3 fewer points than Palin. So then he gets eliminated because of ranked choice voting, and his second choice, and so then his voters, whoever their second choice was, they get his votes. So you might be thinking, well, then Palin should win because if she gets all of the, shouldn't everybody who voted for the other Republican, well, they're going to prefer a Republican.
Right.
Not enough of them did. A lot of those people said, so these were people who said, I want a moderate Republican. I want a Republican. I can't have that. I can't have Sarah Palin. And they opted for a Democrat over Sarah Palin. They didn't opt for a Democrat over a moderate Republican. They opted for a Democrat over Sarah Palin. That's how much clearer can it be?
Yeah, honestly, I think framing this and the way that some of the commentators, they frame this as like, you got a Democrat over Republican in those kind of partisan terms is really the problem at the root of this country. I would love to be in a place where, you got to acknowledge that there are these voters who don't feel that partisan. The largest political identification group in the country is independent. There are people who absolutely hated someone like Hillary Clinton, would have voted for someone like Bernie Sanders, liked someone like Donald Trump. That's all one human being. And if you don't have a kind of politics that can accommodate those kind of nuances in people's political perspective, you're going to get some really terrible outcomes. So I love this. I love this outcome, not because a Democrat can win, but because the ranked choice voting is an arrow to the heart. It's an axe to the heart of partisan politics. Absolutely. And the capture that they have us in. This is why it's such an important prong of Andrew Yang's Forward Party, and why, despite some of my criticisms of the Forward Party, I am very encouraging of it going forward in its fight to get ranked choice voting across the country. By the way, you can game these systems as well if you are a Republican flank or a Democratic flank who wants to try to make sure that you can succeed in a ranked choice ballot scenario. We saw this happening, I think, in a New York race last year. I think it was in the mayoral race. You can announce to your followers who you think the second choice should be
Yeah.
in order to try to make sure that,
Which is what they did. It was very confusing to outsiders, but it made perfect sense.
Right.
And it's not an overly complicated system. It's
Right.
allowing people who want to give a third party a chance. Maybe they prefer, my candidate, Joe Jorgensen or something, was the
Right.
Libertarian Party candidate from last time, or Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate, or whoever it is. But there are so many voters who are discouraged from going that route because
they're going to spoil the election.
They hate Trump more than Joe Biden, or they hate Joe Biden more than Donald Trump, and they're like, well, it's going to be one of those two, so I have to vote for one of those two. If you do ranked choice voting, you can actually vote for the candidate you really like, who's not those two, and then you'll see in the totals that maybe that candidate gets 11% of the vote rather than 2% of the vote.
Right.
Still doesn't win, gets eliminated, and then the second choice person, then it can be your, I just can't see Trump be president,
But
I
you
can't
can
see
vote
Biden.
and register your preference and start to grow alternative parties over time, and that's exactly what Democrats
and people then will take note
want.
when the first ballot is, oh wow, this alternative party, this third party candidate did a lot better. Then people will pay more attention to that candidate and the policies and the ideas they're running on.
Right.
Yeah. So we're ranked choice voting. I absolutely, for the success of third party candidates, I said this before on the show, I think it's so utterly dependent on changing the structure of voting, of the kind of systems we use, because the best messaging in the world, it cannot break through the two-party duopoly without an ability to express a preference, like through a ranked choice voting system.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So very interesting results, and also just a warning again to the GOP. You can win. They can win. Not like this. Not like this. Well, that does it for us for the week. Tomorrow, Emily and Ryan will be with you to share the most important news of the day.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who, like me, like to listen on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Everybody have a great Labor Day weekend. I'm doing some traveling. I know you are as well.
I am too. Mask, don't mask, do whatever suits your preference.
Whatever suits your preference. All right, bye everybody.
Bye-bye.